Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to another video on ForgottenWeapons.com. I'm Ian McCollum and I'm here today at the Rock Island Auction House where we are taking a look at this is a Mauser model of 1914, very early humpback pistol, called for the hump on this slide. But more importantly, what we're really taking a look at here today is this guy. This is a 4mm Zimmerstutzen conversion kit for that Mauser. And this sort of kit was made for a bunch of pistols that were on the market at this sort of point in time. And by this time, I mean the early 1920s. This was originally patented by a guy named Karl Weiss in Germany with the RWS company in 1921. There were some other similar sorts of conversion systems being developed and patented at the same time. What we have here is the RWS type, and it is a way to convert a standard cartridge firing pistol, in this case a .32 ACP pistol, to instead shoot basically a little parlor, indoor parlor shooting type of cartridge, similar to a Flaubert cartridge, just like one step up above an air gun. These were popular at first. They were introduced at the time because they offered cheaper shooting, and a way to shoot conveniently indoors without the noise and the danger and the need for a heavy backstop of a real cartridge. They actually enjoyed a renaissance in the 1970s, but let's touch on that after we take a look at how this thing actually works. At some point, I will set up and do a good series of videos on the history of the Mauser 1910, 1914, 1934 pocket pistols. And at that point, we'll talk more about this early humpback type of gun. For now, I want to focus instead on this 4mm kit. And so let's take a look in here. This case, by the way, is new, but the conversion kit is all original parts. We have, first off, a barrel here. Serial number on the barrel is 594. You'll notice that the barrel is longer than the standard Mauser barrel, and that is true. Honestly, I'm not entirely sure why, beyond the fact that the longer barrel gives you a longer sight radius, which is better for target shooting. This is the standard barrel pattern for these 4mm guns in the Mauser. I should also mention they made these kits for a lot of other pistols as well. But let's see, beyond that, we have a magazine here. This is a totally normal standard magazine. It will chamber .32 ACP cartridges, or it will chamber these inserts. So I can load those up in a magazine like so. And then we have this compartment here. Lid's a little tight. There we go. And in there we have a number of Zimmerstutzen cartridges. So this thing is basically an elongated centerfire primer with a little lead ball in the end of it. It's a 4mm diameter ball. I believe the weight on this is something like 7 grains. It is really, really light. This is, like I said, an indoor parlor shooting sort of thing. And the way you actually use it is you take the regular cartridges, or the inserts. You'll notice that there is a little chamber cut in that insert that fits that little guy. So you drop that in there. Because this is not a rimfire sort of primer. It looks like one, but this is actually a centerfire primer. And now you have what is in effect a centerfire cartridge. You can chamber this in the pistol, and it requires no change to the breech face or the firing pin, because this is the same size as a .32 ACP cartridge, and firing pin hits right in the middle, which will detonate it. That then fires the ball down the front of this cartridge chamber filler bit, and then into the actual barrel. You can see the barrel is necked down there to 4mm. We have a little 4mm exit diameter. That whole thing chambers in just like that. So if you lock the pistol open and then drop it closed, in fact, we can do that with one that does not have one of these cartridges in it, which gives me an opportunity to show you the last tool in the kit, which is this manual ejector rod. So you'd use that for poking out the fired little brass percussion caps after shooting. Now, often on .22 conversion kits, you'll have some sort of barrel insert that you have to thread in. You could do that on this, except the Mauser design is really pretty slick in that it allows you a very easy barrel change. So we lock the barrel back and then push this button, pull out this locking rod, and then the barrel just lifts right out the top of the gun. So that's our 32 ACP barrel. We can take our 4mm barrel, slide it right in there, put this rod back in, and presto, we have a 4mm converted gun. Nice long barrel for better precision. You got the same sights, so they're okay. They're not exactly target sights, but it's simpler to just change the barrel than to try and come up with some sort of entirely new rear sight. And then we can go ahead and take, you'll notice this is empty. What you would do to actually use this is load that into the magazine there. On the Mauser 1914, the slide automatically closes when you insert a newly loaded magazine. So there it goes, chambering that dummy cartridge. The 4mm thing obviously is not going to cycle this pistol. So when you fire, nothing's going to move. It's going to make a nice quiet little pop, and then you will manually open the slide up. It will eject this, and you can then go ahead and load the next one in. You could also, of course, load multiples into the magazine, in which case when you pull the slide back, well, what the heck, I'll just show you that too. Load 1, 2, and 3 in there, all of them empty. Load that in. So there's our first round. There's our magazine not working. There's our second round. And there's our third round. You should be able to see that there. The 4mm barrel is indeed rifled, and this sort of conversion kit is every bit as accurate as a .22 is, especially with a fixed barrel like this. For indoor target shooting, that does the job just fine. So there you have the complete 4mm indoor shooting conversion. So I hinted earlier that these kind of came back into the popular sphere in Germany in the 1970s, and the reason is German gun regulations at the time, which allowed you to own and shoot one of these Zimmerstutzen kits without it being treated and regulated like a handgun. So they, I honestly don't know the exact details of the legislation at that time, but because this thing was basically just a primer with a little tiny lead pellet in front of it, you could own that without the same level of regulation it would take to own the same pistol firing 32 ACP real ammunition. So that made them a lot more popular. Else then you could have the gun and you could actually get some enjoyable shooting. If you were a target shooter, you could get some realistic, valuable target practice out of this in a an indoor area, very convenient, very easy, quiet, inexpensive, that sort of thing. Now that legislation eventually changed and these went back to being regulated like handguns, so that little renaissance didn't last forever. But I think it's a really cool idea, this little conversion kit. Same sort of idea as a .22 rimfire conversion, but in some ways more interesting, because with a .22 rimfire you still need a lot of the accessory stuff, a lot of the infrastructure of a proper shooting range. It still is a legitimate real firearm. With something like this, you can set up a little bullet trap in your house, in your parlor, and actually get some shooting in. So I think that's pretty cool. If you're interested in this particular one, take a look at the description text below. You'll find a link there to forgottenweapons.com, and from there you can link over to Rock Island's catalog page on this combination of pistol and 4mm conversion kit. Thanks for watching.